Hey, and welcome to this DE Blocks focus today on requirements and prerequisites in your DE class. So requirements and prerequisites are an approach in Canvas that allows you to be sure that students interact with your content in a particular order, time, or following an accomplishment in a previous module item. It's basically like saying before you can learn how to go down a really aggressive hill, learning to ski, you first have to practice your turn, on a very basic hill, on a very minimal one. So to get started with the requirements in your class, you'll want to go to the Modules tab in your class. And let's actually take a look using my class as a sample. Okay, so what I would do is I will click on my modules. And the modules for this class are already set up. But basically what I would do is I would go to, let's say, week 1 and hit Edit. And this is where the key box comes up that really is where 100% of your work with this particular content area or approach in Canvas will take place. So basically it's showing me the current module. I can choose to lock it, and if I choose to lock it, I could either choose it on a particular date, so I just determine on my own the timing when I want students to see it, or I can add a prerequisite. So maybe the prerequisite, and this is a bad example, I should be on week 2, but let's say I wanted to put in here a module. Well, we'll do the welcome. So it actually kind of knows it's not going to have a prereq that comes later. And if I ran into trouble, I could rename stuff or resequence it in terms of my module outline here. But this is cool. So I can click the welcome. They first have to view then my welcome message and my welcome module before they can even look at week 1. Now, does it mean they're always going to read 100% of the material in the previous module you're trying to get them to see as a prerequisite or requirement? Not the case, but pretty good chance that the numbers will go up. I can also add a requirement. Students must complete all of these requirements. They must move through requirements in a sequential order. Okay? So I could determine order or all. And I could say on here, week 1 resources. I could have them view the item, mark it as done, or even contribute to the page. What's pretty cool in the sequencing here is it goes up in responsibility. Viewing, least amount of time maybe, marking as done, they have to check that, and then contribute to the page. So it's an opportunity for you to use requirements in a way that you see fit, as well as prerequisites that hopefully could increase some comprehension of the students in areas of your class. So here's a tip on requirements. Consider using requirements and prereqs as a means of increasing student interaction with your course content. Kind of obvious, right? If students aren't looking at something, I can require them to look at something. Or they're not looking at things in the right order because of my navigation or organization of content, and thus I go back and adjust it a little bit and make it more meaningful. There is a timing issue, so you have a balance of wanting to structure the timed elements of a class to benefit the learning and the grading assessment with the desire of those high achievers who want to look ahead or work with content ahead of the class because that's how they like to work. So it's not always the best solution for every single student in the class to have prerequisites or even modules opening at a later date when some students want to get going on that class, not in a self-paced manner, but more early on because they're not procrastinators. So it's a bit of a challenge in terms of figuring all that out, and that's for you to do certainly on your end. Remember, another tip is just be restrictive enough. If you're overly restrictive and students are just doing busy work in terms of prereqs or requirements, it could lead to just some user frustration on the part of the learner in that class. So please continue to your next block.